that's a good segue into the Amazing Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield. Initial reactions?
They're good movies.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say they're good movies. They're not.
Not great.
No, they're not great, but they're good movies.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I think that they get overhated.
Who?
Those movies, those two movies.
Oh yeah, those two movies are overhated
I don't know
because it's people like, oh, those movies are tried to replace the original trilogy, and they're like, not my Spider-Man.
Yeah. Not my Spider-Man 2012 whenever it came out.
But if more people gave him more like a chance, I think they would have liked it more. Like, I think they could have created like a good series out of Amazing Spider-Man.
And you can tell when they made the first movie how different they tried to make it. Like to set it as far. I mean, from the suit having like sunglasses.
Yeah, the movie was so much darker.
It was darker. It was grittier. I loved it. I mean, it was great. You still had your Uncle Ben, which you need to have in a good Spider-Man story. So I get that. But I felt that there were a lot of elements that were very different. Like Peter seems a little. I'm not gonna lie, he's good looking.
Yeah, he was too good looking.
He's really good looking in this movie,
and he skateboards.
And he skateboards, and he's a hipster. And they want you to believe he's a nerd. I mean, I get how they wanted it to be completely different.
Yeah,
but I'm like, who is this Calvin Klein looking?
And he has like confidence, like a lot of confidence before he gets bitten by the spider.
Yeah.
And it's like he should be really nerdy and self-reserved.
Yeah.
And then when he gets his powers, he like gets this newfound self-confidence and comes into it.
Yeah. I agree with that.
While coping with his powers.
Yeah. I agree with that. And then, of course, we see our Uncle Ben take a turn for the worst and get dead. And then that's what sparks the need for responsibility and becoming Spider-Man and all that instead of just messing around, which is good. What you need in a Spider-Man movie. Foreshadowing. Yeah, what you need in a Spider-Man movie.
Need some like real driving force that has some seriousness behind it, emotion.
But then it takes a darker turn, like in the Raimi movies. Yeah, he goes to hunt for the killer. But this is like a vengeful hunt. It's not just like I'm gonna get the guy and I'm gonna tell him what's up. He's like, I'm gonna kill this guy.
I'm gonna take this guy.
I'm finding him, and he starts beating the crap out of like 8 different guys that look like him.
Oh yeah, during the alleyway scene.
I mean, the alleyway, the car scene where he's like, "Oh, small knives scare me."
Oh no, my only weakness, small knives.
And then the cops come, of course. Yeah. But he eventually does find the guy, I believe. Yeah. And he kind of realizes, hey, maybe this isn't what Ben would have wanted. Would want me to do something better with this. And
they should have like took a turn and just had him like lay him out, just
dead.
Yep.
But then that's when the lizard comes in. That whole time, Dr. Connors, which I really like the lizard as a villain because he's sciencey like Peter, kind of like Doc Ock. They're like parallels of Peter, which I really like.
Yeah, they're like evil parallels. Like Connors was trying to do something good. Like he was trying to figure out a way for people to regrow limbs using lizard DNA or whatever. And it just took a turn. At the same as Doc Ock was trying to modify humans so that we can do more things or whatever.
Yeah, he was trying to benefit humanity.
Yeah, benefit people. But it ended up,
of course, going bad.
Taking a turn.
Yeah.
And it wasn't their fault that they were evil. Because Doc Ock was like possessed by the chip
arms.
thing.
Arms,
on the arms. And Connors got lizard brain.
Reptilian brain disease.
He got lizard brain disease.
And I mean, and that makes for a great villain.
Yeah.
You don't want just some baddie showing up and be like, I'm bad.
I'm bad. I kill people. You should fight me. No, you want someone like you could also see the good side in, and you feel bad for them, but you also understand the hero has to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, you want a compelling
conflict. You want
to be invested in.
Yeah, you want to invest in the best way is like conflict and character.
And then the whole movie, them getting closer and closer through what they did different. Talking about, remember going back to the being different from the first movies, the whole part's about his parents, about Peter's parents.
Oh yeah, because they're not dead. They're just
in that movie we believe that they
they introduced them as
the dad was a scientist that worked with Connors.
Yeah,
And that's what establishes the relationship for Peter and Connors to bond over the dad's loss.
Yeah, and they bond real close, and then he's like, "You lizard? What?
Oh, Spider Boy. Yeah.
Spider Boy."
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's great. I think it's
Wait,
good.
why'd Lizard try to turn everyone into lizards?
In his mind, he was evolving.
Oh, he was trying to help them.
Yeah, in his mind, he's evolving them to where they would be perfection.
Everybody got to be lizard.
And he does a few guys, and then they're able to win. The highlight, maybe I'm biased, I don't know, but the highlight of the Amazing Spider-Man movies is Gwen for me.
Like, you like her as a character?
I love her as a character. Love Emma Stone. And I think the chemistry between Garfield and Emma Stone was unmatched in any any hero movie we've seen in general, superhero movie. That's saying a lot.
Out of all of them,
all of them.
Let me think. Hold on.
Yeah,
I gotta think of other movies. So there's Iron Man. I think it's better than Iron Man.
Yeah.
Thor. I think the romance in Thor is weak.
Yeah, I don't really like Jane Foster really.
I mean, not just because you don't like her. I mean, it's just like the romance or like the relationship isn't a very compelling one.
Yeah.
It is. The Amazing Spider-Man is, I think, one of the most compelling relationships.
And it's fun to watch. You get invested in it. And I know they even dated off screen.
That's probably
which makes it.
Yeah, that's probably why it's good.
Yeah, their little banter. I mean, I heard a rumor saying the director Mark Webb would often, when it came to like romance lines, that he would just let them ad lib, and they would just talk what they feel.
Dang.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, and I think it was a great movie. And then the whole involvement of Captain Stacy being in it he's hunting Spider-Man the whole movie. He doesn't know that it's kind of like a Green Goblin aspect.
Oh, yeah. Because he's like, Spider-Man, he's an evil person.
He's a vigilante that we need to catch.
And then when they have him surrounded, pulls off the mask.
Yeah, and the mask gets pulled off. He notices that it's Peter.
Yeah.
And then he sees that he's only trying to help. Yeah. And so he lets him go.
He's like, don't shoot. And that guy's like, what? Kill him? Okay.
Yeah, one guy just like didn't listen. He's like, you know what?
This is my time.
My time to shine. He shoots him. I bet he got reprimanded.
Oh, and then he's like, you shot Spider-Man.
Spidey has to go with the help of New York and the construction crews.
Yeah, he's like, we gotta help Spider-Man. Like,
yeah. Who he saved the kid of the manager earlier of the construction crew. That's how they knew each other.
What was it?
What?
How did he know him?
On the bridge when Lizard was attacking the Oscorp manager. One of the kids gets trapped in a car and thrown off the bridge, and Spider has to go save him.
Oh.
And then so the construction guy, like, how can I help him back? He helps him to put the cranes
and
so like swing faster.
Yeah.
Then go to take down Lizard, and then you see Captain Stacy come up and try to help Peter.
What's he got? A shotgun?
Shotgun.
He got a shotgun.
And it works for a while, and then eventually Lizard, who can heal, Reptile, ends up getting the best of Stacy.
You got to shoot him in the brain.
Yeah, well, that didn't work out too well. And Captain Stacy gets dead.
Got dead.
And then Peter's last conversation with him, he's like, keep Gwen out of it. That's what you got to promise me. Kind of like Goblin did. Don't tell Harry.
So
he has to live with this promise now that he made to a dying man. And you see that throughout the whole second movie. Going into it. Well, even in the end of the first movie, he doesn't even show up to the funeral. Peter doesn't. Because he feels like he can't face Gwen.
Because he was like partly involved in the death, you mean?
He feels guilty.
And he doesn't, he's listening to his words. He's like, don't get involved. So he's like, well, I better not go to that. Because that's being involved.
Yeah. And then by the time the second movie rolls around, you've seen that they've started dating anyways, though. Because she convinces him, she's like, look, I know you made a promise, but I just lost like an important part of my life. I can't lose you too, you know.
Yeah, that's compelling.
And so they start dating, of course, which makes the ending of Amazing Spider-Man 2 so much more
She's
emotional.
Like, don't worry about me. I'll be good.
Yeah. She's like, you know, you're treating me like a child.
I'm treating you like
I don't need you to protect me. I'm here to help you. And then, ooh.
Well, let's talk through the rest of it first.
Okay.
Okay. The introduction to Electro. So we first see Electro, getting saved by Spider-Man. It's like, you're my eyes and ears, man. He's like,
Max Dillon.
I am.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's talk about Electro in this movie. Let's talk about the villains in this movie.
The villains.
Lizard, we liked him. Let's talk about the villains in Amazing Spider-Man 2. So there's Rhino, who gets first introduced? Electro and Goblin.
I don't like Rhino.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like the mechanical suit. I want a roided out guy in a leotard. I want to see that guy running through buildings.
Yeah, that would have been epic. Okay. I don't like Alexis Sanchez as in this movie because he's just a screaming Russian guy the whole time.
Yeah,
Paul Giamatti's just like the whole time. I don't like that. I actually don't mind the Robo suit though.
I get why they did it because it matches the feel of the rest of the Amazing Spider-Man series.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really focus on like mutations or like people who have been like mutated.
Yeah,
but there's lizards, so
yeah, but in the second one it's focused on Oscorp, and all of a sudden it's Harry's here,
like big tech,
and you find out Oscorp created the suit.
Yeah,
and created the Goblin, which we'll get.
Wasn't there the Vulture suit too?
Yeah, there was. In the little bonus scene at the end, there's Doc Ock arms, Goblin, Vulture, Rhino. In a deleted scene, there's a little Venom symbiote in there.
There is?
Yeah, but it gets changed with what you just said. What did you say?
Scorpion?
I think. One of them gets changed. Anyways, so you see them clearly throughout the movie. They're trying to set up Sinister Six, which would have been really sick, which they did have a plan for. It was going to go Amazing Spider-Man 1, 2, Sinister Six. No, 3.
It would be 3, then Sinister Six, right?
No, I think it's Sinister Six. Yeah, because in the end of the movie, it's just called The Gentleman. He's this guy that visits Green Goblin in prison. He's like, look, I've got a team, and we're ready. Let's get the guys.
Oh, wasn't that Doc Ock?
No. It's called The Gentleman. That's all he's called.
I don't remember The Gentleman from anything else.
Yeah, I've never heard of him until this movie. And then, yeah, so he's like, I'll get a team. So it's going to go to, I think, Sinister Six, Amazing Spider-Man 3, and then 4, I think.
So it'd be Sinister 6, 3, then 4?
Yeah, Sinister Six would just be about them. Like, I don't think it involves Spidey.
Oh, them, like, teaming up together? And then 4 would be the first meeting.
Well, 3 would be their meeting, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 3 would be their first meeting with Spider-Man.
And then I don't know how the 4th one would go, but then...
It's probably a... Oh, yeah, 3 would be Spider-Man dealing with the death.
In Sinister Six.
Probably for half the movie. And then the rest of the half would be the introduction to Sinister Six.
His introduction, yeah.
Yeah, and then it would be... The 4th one would be, like, the full-scale fight against them. Like, how that would occur.
That too, yeah. But I think in the middle of that, they wanted to do Sony. This is all big Sony's major plan, so we really got ahead of themselves. Really did, because in between 3 and 4, I think they wanted to do their Venom movie.
They really tend to do that.
Yeah, they really wanted to do a Venom movie. And I think that would have influenced the 4th one, like him getting the symbiote or something, and have to fight them that way. I
think he would play a great symbiote suit.
Yeah, I could see him being moody and broody. And...
Ooh, you better watch out. I'm crazy.
I could see that. That would have been cool. But
he better do some dance moves.
I don't think he can match Maguire's.
No one can match him.
I mean, come on. James Brown, soundtrack, dancing, black suit. That's hard.
He got the popped collar.
Oh yeah, I mean
the open button.
The ladies were looking at him.
And he's like snapping. He's like, hey, and they're like, ooh.
He was single. Ooh. He was ready to freaking mingle.
Freaking mingle, man.
Yeah, so I mean, they really got ahead of themselves, but that's why I think I like Amazing Spider-Man 2 so much, because the potential it had.
Yeah, it really sucks that they stopped.
Yeah.
Why they stopped? Was it just not enough money?
No, it's because they wanted this. So this was 2014, so they wanted Tom Holland, they wanted Spider-Man to go into the Avengers. They wanted him in the MCU. So they were thinking, how could we put him in there? Because at the time, I think Garfield was hitting almost 30 or something. Like he was getting up there. And they're like, well, we can't have him playing high school and all that in there. So they said, well, I guess we'll just have to get a new actor. And having that, they can't have their universe going as well. But the major reason, yes, was money. They expected Amazing Spider-Man 2 to get $1 billion, and it only made like 730 or something.
Didn't he get sick?
That's another
doing a press conference or something.
Yeah, so basically we covered 3 reasons in. Yeah, so they're having a big Sony Con kind of thing down in Brazil or something, Argentina, some South America.
Sony Con.
I don't know what it's called, but they were supposed to actually announce Amazing Spider-Man 3 coming out, and he couldn't show up because he had food poisoning, or something like he made the trip, but he couldn't get there. Like he was there.
Probably something he ate there,
Maybe.
like messed up his stomach.
Maybe, but then he didn't show up, and they said, you know what? Okay, this was kind of maybe our push to get rid of the Amazing Spider-Man series and go MCU.
Yeah, they just used it as a reason to kick him out.
Pretty much, I think the disappointment of Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was caused by them.
Yeah, it was their fault, and they're like, "Why isn't this good?"
The same thing as Spider-Man 3, them trying to shove everything into that and create new spin-off movies, and yeah, we've learned Sony just kind of
really
shoots himself in the foot.
They can do good single movies.
Yeah, but then when it gets to like the second and third, and they're trying to set up stuff, and it's just not good.
They get like, it's like your first movie does well, and it's like, oh,
how about you do this so we can make more?
Yeah, we gotta get a whole plan of like 7 movies in there.
Yeah, we got a plan
because they're all gonna be this good.
Yeah, I mean, Electro. I know you've expressed your dislike for the way Electro was in that movie, and Rhino. So you just didn't like the villains, and you didn't like Goblin either. I feel like Goblin was rushed for sure.
Goblin shouldn't have been in there.
I agree. He should have been saved for the third.
I think they should have hyped up Electro more and give him more power.
Instead of being a crazy, psycho, schizophrenic.
Yeah, like a super fan that's gone crazy.
Yeah.
A stan.
Yeah.
I think he should have been like, he should have already been angry at Spider-Man. Yeah. I feel like if he was constantly angry at Spider-Man before gaining the powers, it would really drive his character more. Or because it'd just be on sight as soon as he sees Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, Spider-Man, look, I got powers, I can help you. And Spider-Man's like, who are you?
Like to connect him, like in the Raimi's, how connections is what makes it better.
Yeah.
Like him trying to, maybe the Rhino being the main villain and Electro trying to help him, but ends up hurting people.
Oh yeah, he tries to like
fight Rhino.
So he gains the powers, the electric powers, and then he sees like on the news or something, Rhino tearing up.
Yeah.
And no.
They're fighting.
No. He gets there before Spidey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then Electro's fighting him, and Rhino's like, "What are you doing, dude?" And like it was like, "I'm helping Spider-Man," and then Electro like tears out the place more than Rhino does, and Spider-Man's like, "You are the villain." No, he's like,
"You can't do this. Go home."
It's like you are not cut out for this, and he's like throws a little tantrum.
Kind of like in The Incredibles. The Bucky or Buddy or whatever.
Yeah, he's like, "What?
Go home, buddy.
Go home, buddy."
And it turns into Syndrome.
That someone got busy.
Yeah, literally that's what it should have been.
Yeah.
And the movie should have been about Rhino and Electro. No one else.
Oh, that'd be great. So in the beginning, Electro fights Rhino, but after Spider-Man like turns on Electro, Electro teams up with the Rhino.
Yeah.
So it's even more like harder story for Spider-Man to like fight them.
Yeah, and that way it wouldn't lead us to the end, which we weren't talking about earlier. Spoiler alert. If Green Goblin didn't show up, then Gwen Stacy wouldn't have dead.
I don't even know why they put that in there. When I was watching the movie like the first time, it felt like normal paced, and then at the end it was like they set it to 5 times speed.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? And then all of a sudden, snap necked. I'm like, what happened?
I think the reason for that was because, like we said, studio interference. Because there's a whole 20-minute subplot that doesn't make any sense.
There's a subplot? 20 minutes?
There's like 7 subplots in this movie. That's what's crazy. It's like 3 different movies in one. So you got Peter dealing with his parents.
Yeah.
Peter dealing with Gwen. Peter dealing with Stacy. The memories of Stacy.
Yeah.
Rhino, Electro, his friend Harry that wants his blood because it's dying. Remember?
Oh yeah, he's like, why won't you give me your blood? Because he figures out it's the spider blood, right?
And he figures out his dad only made it to be compatible with Parker blood. His blood. Richard Parker.
Oh.
So only Peter can have it. Or it'll do some weird thing like it did to Harry. When he tries to take over Oscorp, it's a whole crazy mess. I mean, it's a lot packed into one movie. And then they had the whole 20-minute, like I was talking about. He finds this little coin that his dad gave him. He finds a calculator that his dad gave him. It's full of train coins. Then he finds this underground train that's been sitting there for like 20 years.
Oh, yeah, and it's a secret lab?
It's like a secret lab with like video footage and lab
And
reports.
That's where Connor was...
No.
No?
That's where the info about Connor and Osborn and all that was.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Hold on. We spent 20 minutes doing nothing, just finding out for it to end saying that his dad on the computer saying it's about you, your blood, and that I love my son. I'm like,
so basically useless information.
Pretty much, yeah. They really push the parent aspect in these two movies. I guess to be different. I don't know. I mean, it's
since they're not dead.
Yeah. Turns out the dad's not dead in a deleted scene, and it's really emotional. And then they decide to cut it. The mom's dead though.
How'd she die?
Plane crash. That's how amazing.
Oh, but he survived the plane crash.
Yeah.
Was it?
That's how amazing.
Oscorp that took their plane out.
Yeah.
It was.
Or the FBI. I'm sorry. No, it was a government agency finding out Oscorp wanted to weaponize it and sell it to like terrorists or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they end up taking the plane out, trying to steal it. So yeah. It's a very different movie. That's a whole other subplot in there. It's a whole mess of things.
They got too ahead of themselves. So like, we got to add all these things so we can use it later.
Yeah. We can talk about it later, and it just ends up making a whole heap. And it really, honestly, should have been, like we said, Electro, Rhino, and him and Gwen the whole movie.
Yeah.
Trying to deal with being in a relationship after after Captain Stacy dies.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it should have been.
But he also has to deal with like them tearing up the place.
Yeah. What it should have
been. Even though that would be simpler, it would be much more compelling.
It'd be giving more time to be like invested.
Yeah, you can invest in each side of the story. Like you understand that Peter has to deal with these people.
Yeah, he's got 3 or 4 things going on at 9.
Yeah, but in like the original, not the original, but in the real one, it's like he has.
Oh, the actual.
Because I'm talking about like compared to ours.
Yeah.
It would be so many different things that it looks like has ADHD. Just have to focus on these different things.
Yeah. I mean, as an audience, you're like, what?
And you're trying to keep up, and then as soon as you learn what's happening, it changes again.
Yeah, like the ending of what I would have called the ending of the movie when him and Gwen defeat Electro with their knowledge of science.
And then
Goblin
comes in out of nowhere.
He's like, hey, give me your blood.
Give me your blood, kid. Run that blood.
And he looks over and he sees Gwen, and then he puts 2 and 2 together. Oh, crap, That's Peter. That's Peter. He's like, oh, Peter, you're gonna wish you didn't do that.
I'm gonna kill your girlfriend.
And so it kidnaps the girlfriend, goes up in the Gwen goes up in the sky, drops her. Spider-Man catches her, of course. They tussle a little bit, but then in trying to defeat Harry and save Gwen, he has to choose one. And then he can't do.
Well, no, he's holding Harry back, but he's also holding like the clock tower gears.
Yeah, from cutting out of the comics.
Cutting the web. Because the web was in one of the gears, getting closer to another gear, and it was about to be cut, and he's like holding it with one of his feet.
Yeah.
And the clock tower's like, I can't deal with this, so it just like breaks.
Basically, rupture.
And then when it ruptures, Goblin, because he has the web around his neck,
it gets that neck around his neck.
Yeah, it gets flung back.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man tries to go for Gwen, but there's a bunch of gears in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So he got a clean shot, but it was too late, and she had too much momentum, and he stopped too fast.
Yeah, and she ends up dying.
Yeah.
After all that, and you're like,
if he caught her like right here, like the neck area,
oh yeah,
like big web, he would have been fine. Like maybe broken back, paralyzed, he'd still be alive.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And then, but now you have. So then, where the movie should have ended, 15 minutes ago. Then you get another 15 to 20 minutes after this, him going to the grave, her burial.
Yeah, and then
going to her grave every season, then having to deal with it in a 5-month span. So basically, they put another 5 months at the end, and he sees that Rhino's back and tearing up the city. And then finally, some kid out of the crowd's like, you know what? Spider-Man's not going to do it. I'm going to do it.
I'm Spider-Man, punk.
And so he tries to fight Rhino, and then that's what draws Peter out.
And then he clocks Rhino with a manhole cover.
Which, let's just talk about that scene, right? Remember?
Oh, yeah, they showed it in the trailer.
They showed it in the trailer, and then they literally ended the movie without telling you what happens.
That's crappy.
That is horrible.
Like, we're going to see this epic fight against, with Spider-Man and Rhino. No, you're not. You're going to see exactly what you saw in the trailer.
They cucked us.
Yeah, they did. They're like, oh, you want it? Here it is. You see?
Come back and see the next one.
This is only part of it. Oh, we lied. That's all of it. That's all we got.
Yeah, come back again, okay? Thanks. Yeah.
Give us more money. We might make it. We might.
And then they didn't. So that is how it all ended right there.
Mm-hmm. And then it went into
with a cliffhanger. Never heard of it.
Yeah.
No satisfying ending.
Well, they had the game.
The game?
The Amazing Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
I never played it.
I played a little. I never finished it though.
Was it like good gameplay? Was it swinging fun?
Yeah.
Compared to like the new
I'm
one?
talking about story-wise. We never really got an end. You know?
Yeah.
Never really feels like we got an end. So overall, I think these movies are very overrated. I mean, underrated. Sorry, underrated.
Yeah, very underrated.
Underrated and overhated.
Yeah, I would say that.
They were good. The chemistry between Gwen and Peter was amazing. The highlight of the whole series.
The first one should be treated separately from the second one.
And you can tell another studio interference is the tone of the two. Like the first one's so dark and gritty,
and it's much slower.
Yeah, much.
You can feel it like
his
chugging
journey.
along.
Yeah, his journey. You're like, oh man, I'm feeling for this guy.
Yeah.
And the second one, it starts out. First of all, the suit's different. I guess they were like, maybe the audience didn't like that, or we need to go
like
classic.
the suit.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was different.
The audience didn't like it because they wanted Spider-Man 4.
Yeah.
From,
yeah.
And they're like, what is this?
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't like his suit. I like the old one. And then they're like, well, we got to change it. They didn't have to change it. If they kept it, people would come around to that suit.
I think they would. Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, definitely. And then, so that was then the whole tone of the movie changes. It starts out with him doing this really awesome fall, trying to slow down Rhino in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts cracking jokes, which Spider-Man does too, but these are very different from the first movie. Like,
Spider-Man jokes are awful jokes. They're supposed to be like real, like
corny. They're supposed to be corny. And anyway, but while he's cranking out these jokes, people are getting hit by this massive truck. He's like,
oh yeah, when the Rhino's driving the truck, and he hits those people, and he's like,
he's like, what?
I just saw 4 people get hit by this massive truck, murdered. I'll better go save this nerd.
Yeah, Max Dillon just standing out the street.
He wouldn't die if he got hit by that thing.
Yeah.
Because it was coming at shoulder level. It would have hit him in the shoulders.
Really?
Yeah, the taxi.
That much worse.
Remember the taxi?
Yeah.
It's barely at head level. So at worst, he would have got like a minor concussion.
Yeah, I mean.
Because knowing him, he wouldn't have any resistance. Because he would get hit by the taxi, go limp.
Yeah.
So the least amount of damage would be taken on him. He should have stop the truck. I don't know why.
Yeah, he has the power.
Because
he was just cracking jokes, and I think that's a lot.
He took control of the truck when his gun jammed.
Yeah, he's like, "What are you doing?
What are you doing?" Yeah. He could have punched him in the face.
Literally, could have knocked him. So I had a little problem with that. I will say.
Yeah.
It felt like they wanted a more cheery, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man instead of the dark Spider-Man.
They were trying to match the Spider-Man in Spider-Man 1 and 2, and 3.
I think they're trying to get a comic. That's why the suit's so more comic book than the first movie, with the big eyes and stuff. You know.
Oh yeah, they enlarged the what? He's like looking around.
Yeah.
What are you guys looking at?
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me, honestly. Yeah. I would say for the first one, I'd give it.
I give it
7.
Yeah, I was thinking a 7. The second one, I give a 5.
Yeah,
I think I'd give it a 5.5.
I'm gonna go with 6 just because of how much I liked the romance.
The romance is good, but I'm gonna stick with 5 because the rest of the story is awful.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
and then in the whole movie, you're also getting the subplot of Harry's assistant being Black Cat, Felicia Hardy,
did that? Happen?
Felicia Hardy. Yeah,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's like that. You blink, you miss it. It's literally they were gonna get her. They're gonna give her own movie. That's another thing.
They're putting too many things in there.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very full and engorged story. Yeah.